All right, welcome back, everybody. I think it's working now. It says that the microphone is picking this up. I just need somebody to jump on here and talk about this. I'm live again now, period. Are you on the new live with me? Can you hear it? All right. We've got a couple people jumping on here right now. Whoever's here with me, if you could just go into the chat and say, yes, I hear you. Can you hear me okay? Because I just had a big glitch, and glitching always freaks me out. Oh, perfect. Everybody says I hear you. Well, listen, it's great to be here with you. I wanted to spend some time with you today and talk about real estate. I think I'm going to start doing this regularly because I love YouTube. I love the platform, and I love giving advice on real estate investing and helping people to get into it. And I'm glad everybody could be here with me. I know YouTube, now that I'm live and we're together, will start letting everybody know that I'm here so we can all do this together. I feel like I'm just going to take a quick second and go to YouTube on my phone and make sure that it's working. So let me just go back to my channel and click on this. Oh, perfect. We're here. Good. Goodness gracious. Well, listen, a lot of people ask me all the time, why do I do this? Why am I so interested in educating people and teaching people how to get into real estate investing? And what's the big passion about? And I'm going to tell you a really quick story about why I'm doing this. And then from there, I'm happy to answer questions. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in 2026 with real estate investing from my simple perspective. In case anybody's wondering, I'm here at Canadian Hot Tubs right now. This is one of the companies that I own. This is a little warehouse out in the back where we keep all of our cold plunges. If I take a quick look out here, this is our main showroom. I'll show you this really quickly so you can see it. We've got all of our sales guys over there against the wall, and there is the showroom. But I'm down here right now because I'm in a growth phase with Canadian Hot Tubs, and I'm actually building a sales team here to scale sales and everything that we're doing with the company. But I have this huge passion for teaching people about real estate investing and helping to get people into it. Now, I'm not going to claim for a second that I am the greatest real estate person in the world. I do feel that I have enough experience that I could help other people. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But it's an interesting story why I launched the Investors Growth Syndicate and why I'm building what I want to be one day one of Canada's largest and most successful real estate mastermind groups, which is very, very specific in its intent. But here's the quickest version of the backstory ever. I started teaching people how to invest in real estate back in 2019. And at the time, I was focused on building my short-term rental portfolio, and I had all my friends asking me, how do you get into short-term rentals? How do you buy cottages without any money? How do you make money with them? And I could tell that was the world telling me that I should start teaching this. So I launched a little program just teaching people how to do short-term rentals. And then right around that time, there was a news report that I happened to catch on the noontime news in Toronto, where I live. And it was the then Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, who was during this report, she was in downtown Toronto and she was on the site of a major condo development. There were two massive condo buildings that were near complete. And there was this big ceremony that Chrystia Freeland was the guest of honor at. And she started her presentation and she explained that the Canadian government had a new initiative they were starting, and they were going to start putting tons of money into building more homes. It was all about the housing crisis and affordability and everything else. And then she went on to explain that that day she was there to give out some money, and she was giving $500 million, $500 million to two companies. Brookfield Homes, and I think it was Mattamy Homes, I think was the second one. And she went on in her presentation to say that this money was going to be used for these condo buildings that you're seeing here. And the minute she said that, it frustrated me. And I'll tell you why it frustrated me. Anybody that's in real estate investing knows that if you're building major condo buildings, we were talking like 40-story buildings, these two buildings that were owned by two of the biggest developers in our country. But if you're going to build something like that, you have to arrange all of the money for a major construction project like that before you start. So she was explaining that she was giving $500 million to 2 companies for 2 buildings that were already built, which means they already had all the money. And I thought about it, and I thought, I don't think the government of Canada is ever going to fix the housing crisis. And I started thinking about what needed to be done to actually fix the housing crisis. And from my perspective, and I'll say it again, this is just one perspective. I'm just one person. I've been involved in real estate investing, buying properties, owning properties since 2002. And I have a portfolio right now that I'm building that has several resorts in it, has 8 different short-term rental properties. I'm a hospitality guy. But I know for the size of the resort projects we're building, it's the same system for anything you want to do in real estate investing. I started thinking about what Christopher Phelan was saying that day. And then I started thinking, what's it really going to take to fix this problem? And I realized there were 2 major things that I saw. Number one, when people want to build subdivisions or build big projects and build more houses, there is an incredibly detailed process that you have to go through with your municipality or your province, depending on where you're doing your project and what it is, that is painful. It's a paperwork process. Documentation, you got to get permits, you got to get site plans approved, you got to change zoning. And this process, a lot of cases for a big project, it can take years. And the problem with that is, in order for a developer to start the process, they have to own the land first before they can start. Then they have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on architects and engineers to help them put together their applications. Then when they submit their applications, they have to pay massive fees. And the back and forth between the municipality and the developer, it can take years. It's painful. So I was thinking, if we're going to build more houses, we got to streamline that process. And my thought process with streamlining that process would be that what really should happen is the municipalities and the province and the government of Canada should figure out a way to collapse all the processes into one application. Because right now, if you want to build a subdivision and build houses, you've got to go buy the land. And if the land isn't zoned properly for residential, you've got to apply to change the zoning before you can do anything else. And that process can take a year and cost a lot of money. Once you get that application done in the zoning change, then you got to build a site plan. And you got to get your site plan approved. The site plan will show how many houses, where they are, how the septic works. You got to get engineers involved in that. You got to get architects involved in that. You got to get consultants involved in that. That can take years. So on average, getting approval to start building houses can take anywhere from 2 to 3 years. And then once you get all that done, then you have to get an individual building permit for every house you're building. Why can't we put that all into one process, is what I started thinking. The other thing I thought, and more importantly, is all the developers building houses in Canada right now are building the amount of houses we're getting right now, and it's not enough. So tell me if I'm crazy here, but my thought is, if we need more houses built, we need to get more people into building houses. We need to get more people into real estate investing. And that's when the idea of launching my mastermind group, the Investors Growth Syndicate, came along. I thought, I can do my little part. I want to start a mastermind group and help people get into real estate investing, and hopefully help 10,000 people get into real estate investing. That's how we're going to build more houses. Because here's the thought process. When I started real estate investing back in 2001, I started it because I had a mentor who was helping me to start a business, and he insisted that when I started making more money in my life, he wanted me to invest in real estate investing. He really wanted to help me. And I started out buying condos. So I'd buy old dilapidated condos in the city of Ottawa. I'd raise all the money to buy the condos. Then I'd renovate them. It would force the value to increase. Then I'd refinance them and I'd rent them. In 4 years, I built a portfolio of 18 condos. And it was worth $10 million, $12 million. And I learned 4 amazing skills. Looking back, hindsight is 20/20, right? So I looked back at everything I'd done over the last 4 years when I was launching this mastermind group. I thought, you know what? If anybody's going to succeed, if any of you that are here with me right now, if you absolutely want to build a big portfolio, Let's say you want to build a $50 million portfolio. That means you're going to own $50 million worth of real estate. That will easily make you over $1 million a year in income. Go into the chat right now and type yes, YES, if you love the idea of building a $50 million real estate portfolio without using any of your own money and making $1 million a year. Type yes in the chat if you'd like to do that, if you're interested in doing that. Gosh, please, somebody type yes in the chat. I don't know how active this chat actually is, if it's working properly or not. There you go. Thank you, Elroy. I appreciate that. Just tells me that it's coming. Well, listen, here's the reality. If you want to do that, there's 4 skills you have to learn. Number 1, you have to become incredibly good at finding undervalued properties. And there's lots of ways to do that. You can work with wholesalers. You can start getting really good at looking at MLS, identifying the value in deals. People are trying to sell quickly. They're going to sell it for less. Then you can look at a property and after a while, you'll get good at this. You can look and figure out in your mind what renovations you need to do. And then you can use real estate agents and appraisers to find out what that property is going to be worth when you're finished. That's called identifying undervalued properties. You got to become an expert in it. Because as a real estate investor, you never should buy a property unless it's a good deal, unless it's undervalued. Number 2, you have to get incredibly good at raising capital. You have to build the right character, build the right personality, prove that you know what you're doing, and go find investors and get them to trust you with doing it. And it's never going to be easy because the markets are going to change. They're going to go up and down. Things are going to go backwards. But there's a core skill that you need to develop and master the art of fundraising. Number 3, the third skill, you have to figure out how to increase the value of real estate. Now, increasing the value of real estate is all about renovations and rent rolls. So value in real estate is determined 2 ways. Number 1, it's the quality of the finishing. So if you renovate a property completely, you're going to get the value to increase the property. The second way is income. The property the income makes is part of an evaluation. So if you're buying a big apartment building, let's say there's 50 units in it, and you get it for $10 million, but you can renovate it and you can increase the value, let's say to $15 million. But once you've increased the value, if you increase the rents, the money that the apartments are making, that also increases the value. And generally speaking, in accounting, your value will increase by $1 million for every $100,000 in net operating income. So if you get really good at increasing the value, great. And the 4th skill you have to learn is how to exit in real estate. Exit is the art of the deal. You never get into a deal unless you know you can get out of the deal. Now, exit depends on what you're doing. So if you're doing a house flip, you find an old dilapidated property, you buy it with other people's money, you increase the value of it, then you sell it for more than what you paid for it, plus the renovations. When you sell it, that's the exit. And if you do it right, you can make anywhere from $20,000 to $200,000 doing a house flip. Or if you're doing a big apartment building or a resort like I'm doing, I'm going to raise all the capital to buy the resort, to renovate the resort. And then once it's done and making money, I'll go to a bank, refinance it into a long-term traditional mortgage. And the money that the bank gives me, I'll pay back all my temporary lenders and all the people that helped me build the project and give them returns. That's the art of the exit. You got to master those 4 skills. See, I've been doing this for 25 years, so I know those skills inside out, and I know how to teach them to other people. So getting back to why I started the Investors Growth Syndicate, I saw that thing with Christopher Freeland. I realized they were never going to figure it out. I knew I had the ability to build an incredible mastermind group. The other thing that was happening, that little cottage course that I launched, the people in that cottage course were always asking me to teach them more about how to raise capital. So I thought, I want to build a mastermind group where when people join, we're going to give them all the support they need to succeed. And many of you have heard of the Investors Growth Syndicate, but I'll give you a little overview of what I saw and what we could do. I thought if I could build a group, inside of the group, I'm going to teach everything I know about fundraising and what I'm doing in resorts. And I'm going to help people to raise capital. I'm going to help people to find the right properties. I'm going to help people to succeed. And my dream is to get 10,000 people to join the Investors Growth Syndicate, because I know if I can get 10,000 people to join, I'll get about 1,000 people building houses. Because what happened to me was when I first started, I started buying condos and doing simple things like house flips and condos and apartments. Today, 25 years later, I'm building major resort developments. And that's what's going to happen to you. If you're just getting started in real estate investing, when you get started, do things that are going to put more cash in your pocket. Do things that are going to make you more money and master those 4 skills doing it. Do house flips, do short-term rentals. These are really great strategies for making more money in your life. And then you master those skills. And then what's going to happen 2 or 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you're going to have those skills mastered and you're going to want to do bigger projects. And you're going to start building things. That's the whole secret to everything that we're doing and why I'm doing it. All right, let's have some questions. Does anybody here have any questions they want to ask? I've got, it's a username. It's Shah Ridan Saman, I think. I have 2 properties, a duplex I own, a 4-unit with 2 partners. My duplex has 180K HELOC. The 4-unit has equity of about 200K. I want to buy another investment property, 3 to 5 units. How do I qualify for a mortgage as a lender won't lend at my debt income ratio? What's the best strategy? Incorporate with my partners, go to a B lender, own it myself. All right, so that's a big question that I want to unpack for you. Another thing that I regularly tell everybody in the syndicate, you've got to focus on your own credit. It's very important because when you get to the point like Shah Ridan Saman is in, your credit matters. See, when the A banks are looking at you, there's 2 things they look at. They want to know your credit score is good, and they're going to look at debt servicing. Now, let's talk about what is debt servicing. In the banking industry in Canada, there is a very important calculation that the banks use. It's standard across the board to determine if they should give you a mortgage or not, if you can afford the mortgage. It's called the total debt service ratio. And here's how it works. The banks will want to know what your monthly expenses are. Any of your qualified monthly expenses, so your car loan, your rent, everything. They're going to add all that up, and then they're going to divide that by what your total monthly income is. I'll give you an example. So if I go pull up my handy dandy little calculator here, let's say I figure out that the person has $3,200 a month in expenses, and they're making $100,000 a year. So they're making $8,000 a month. So I'm going to divide that by 8,000. And that says 0.4, 40%. That's the maximum that they're going to let you borrow against. So you're in a tough situation there if you're trying to get an A mortgage and you're at a 40% debt service ratio. Now, what they will do, of course, is if you're buying a house, they'll deduct what you're paying now for rent, and they'll figure out what your mortgage payment is, and they're going to add that to it. So if they add your new mortgage payment, your property taxes to it, and you stay below that 0.4, they'll give you the mortgage as long as your credit score is at least, say, 650 to 680. That's what you need to do to get an A mortgage in a simple situation. If you're in a situation where it's investment properties, this is going to complicate things. Because now they're going to take all of your living expenses and they're going to add the extra mortgage expenses for that property. But here's the thing you want to keep in mind. The monthly income you make in rent can also count towards that. So if I'm making $8,000 a month in, let's say, between all the properties, between my properties, my living situation, and let's say I own a 4-plex and I want an A mortgage on that. So they're going to say, okay, all the expenses for everything, let's say it's $6,500 that you got in expenses. Now I make $8,000 a month in income, my primary income, but from my 4-plex, I get another $7,000. So now I'm making $15,000 a month. You can use that income to qualify. So if I divide 6,500 by $15,000, I'm just over. Now here's the situation. The A banks have a limit of 40%. You can go to B lenders. The biggest B lender in Canada is called Home Trust. The rate will be slightly higher, but they'll go up to a 50% TDSR with your income from your property included. So I'm under 50%. So that's a scenario where you'd get a B lender. And that's really the only way you're going to qualify for the mortgages. So to answer part of your question, you asked, go to a B lender if I'm on my own. You can go to a B lender and you can get the 50%. You can also really take a look at the incomes, see if you can increase the incomes in any way, or see what expenses you can lower to qualify at that 40% TDSR. And that's why, if for anybody that doesn't understand this stuff, that's why you see Shaw said the A lenders won't lend at my debt income ratios. So that means he's over that 40%. So you could go to a B lender on your own. The other thing you could do, which you're also saying there, which is much harder to do with an A lender, is you could do a joint application. If two of your partners or one of your partner has a really good TDSR, you can do the application together and you could qualify as that A lender. Trin May, I think at the bottom it says, I'm a newcomer, reside in BC, waiting for my PR. What's my options? I'm restricted to buy and I'm charged foreigner tax. If you're a landed immigrant, if you're legally in Canada and you're on your way to getting a PR, a permanent residency, you can do real estate investing. Because here's the thing you have to understand. If you're going to do house flips or you're going to do short-term things for cash flow, most of what we do there is with private lenders. And if you join the Investors Growth Syndicate, we have 4 different mortgage brokers that we work with and we refer our clients to, and they have thousands of private lenders. And they could literally help you to do 100% financing where you don't put any of your own money into it. We've vetted these mortgage brokers. They are in good standings with FSRA. They have unbelievable experience, and they only work with people that are in our Investors Growth Syndicate program. It's a really, really great program to be a part of. So anyway, I launched this group. It's called the Investors Growth Syndicate, and I don't know if I can share on this. It says I can. Let me just see. So if I go entire screen and I choose that and I share, oh, check that out. So if I go over here now, and I go to here, this is the Investors Growth Syndicate. Let me get out of here. Yep, perfect. I'll take these, move these out of the way. So you can see we started this group about 2.5 years ago. We got 427 members. Every member has joined the group. We got Durga here who's doing a 4-plex in London. He's walking everybody through it. We update each other. We help each other. Sherry Lynn just bought her next property. I'm a real estate agent as well, and I'm selling some properties. One of our members went to one of my 4-plexes I'm selling. It's unbelievable. So we have this incredible platform. I'm going to hit stop sharing. It's called the Investors Growth Syndicate. It's a mastermind group. When I first started it, the idea was I wanted to get thousands of people to join. I could teach them real estate investing, but what's really important for you to understand is it's a mastermind group. And I don't think you'll see anything else like this in Canada. There are so many benefits. First of all, we built an entire online e-learning platform. Let me just go and share my screen again, and I'll show you. If I go over here to kendunn.com, I'll go into the members area. I'll click on my information to get in here, and I'll stop this from. So this is the members area for the Investors Growth Syndicate. And what I did is, now that our group has started growing, we have 2 types of people that are joining the Investors Growth Syndicate. We have brand new people that are just getting into real estate investing, but about 40% of our members are sophisticated real estate investors, people that already have big portfolios, and they specialize in certain areas. So what I did is I started approaching these members when they would join, built friendships with them, and then convince them to build these courses. So we have a full course on doing short-term rentals. We have a course that I built on raising money, and I'll show you what the courses actually look like. So this is a whole course on raising money, and you can see how it's built. It's in modules. So there's a module on creating a presence, attracting investors, knowing the rules, creating the offer, presenting the pitch, closing the deal. It's all here. Inside of our platform, if you join, you get lifetime access on cottages, on how to do short-term rentals, on raising money, on building a following, flipping condos for money, flipping houses for money, multifamily real estate. This is an amazing course. My friends Simon Yan, who's got a $50 million portfolio, Steve Mills, I think his portfolio is just about the same, Natasha Fleming, and myself, the four of us built this course. Everything you ever want to know about doing apartment buildings, doing multifamily real estate. So the way this works is you get lifetime access to all the courses, and then twice a week, we do live Zoom calls. We do live Zoom meetings. On Sunday night at 8 o'clock, I host a session called our mastermind session. Every week, I have something I want to teach to everybody. I ask our other coaches to get involved in teaching. And then on Wednesdays, we do a call called the Deal Flow Call. And this is Sarah Roth here. Sarah is one of the coaches. In fact, let me show you this right now. So inside of the Investors Growth Syndicate, each one of these people you see on the screen all joined the syndicate first. And I started helping them all raise money, build bigger businesses, and they developed their own skills. Sarah Roth owns a resort. She owns an apartment building in Kingston. She's a joint venture expert. Simon Yan has done over 1,000 condo flips. He owns a $50 million real estate portfolio. He's a coach in here. Natasha Fleming lives in Alberta. She's got about a $20 million multifamily portfolio. Steve Mills is our CMH CMLI Select expert. He's helped dozens of people to get approved for 95% financing to buy apartment buildings. Tony Marinov is an expert in wholesaling if you want to learn how to make money wholesaling properties. Jesse Top is a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, and a house flipping expert. And then Courtney and Mel are real estate agents. All of these people are coaches in the program that you get to be a part of. So what we do is we do 2 live Zoom calls every week, Sunday night at 8 and Wednesdays at 12 noon. Show up at those calls every week. There's always going to be interesting information you learn. Number one, because one of those 8 coaches is teaching something, but more importantly, on every call, we have a session where we ask everybody that shows up at the call, do you have a property you need help with? And so if you just joined and you want to do a house flip and you're out looking for the right property and you think you might find it, but you're brand new, so you're not quite sure, you can come to the call, bring the MLS listing, and we'll analyze it for you. And we'll say, yes, this will work. And then if we approve the property you're doing, we'll introduce you to one of our mortgage brokers and they'll get you all the money to do it. It's amazing. Let me see, got another question here. My name is Bruno. I am a temporary resident in Canada. Is it profitable? Is it a profitable business for me, even with the NRST taxes at 25%? Yeah. So that's a great question. So a lot of people that are new to Canada, they are hit by this foreign tax, I think it's called, 25%. So Bruno, the answer to that is there's always a deal to do, and you never do a deal unless the underwriting works. So what you're going to do is you're going to go, let's say we're talking about a house flip. You're going to go out and find the property that you want to flip, and we're going to do all the math. We're going to figure out what you can buy it for, what are the total amount, the expenses are going to cost you, and then what you can sell it for. And if you got to pay a 25% tax on the money you make, just add that in right up front. I'll give you an example. Let's say you go find an old house you can buy for $300,000. Now I know you can't buy a house in Vancouver for $300,000, but you can in Chilliwack. You can in most cities in Canada. So you find an old dilapidated house that you can pay $300,000 for. You borrow all the money to do that. Then you figure out to get contractors to do all the renovations, it's going to cost you $100,000. So then you borrow that money, and you got to pay monthly payments on the money. So if you don't have the money to make the monthly payments, we borrow that money too. It's called an interest reserve. So you figure out what the total cost is. So let's say in that case, you pay $300,000 for the house, you pay $100,000 for your renovations, and you borrow $50,000 for your interest reserve. So now you're up to $450,000 on the property. The rule is don't buy the property unless you know you can sell it for $200,000 more than your total expenses. So if it's going to cost you $450,000 all in, don't sell it unless you know you can sell it for at least $650,000. So the way you figure that out is you're going to get a real estate agent to find some comparables, and then you can actually get an appraisal done by an appraiser and ask them to establish what the ARV value is, the after repair value. So if they come back and say it's going to be worth $700,000, and your real estate agent says, I'm going to be able to sell that for $700,000, that means you're going to make $250,000. So then, as part of underwriting, if you're subject to a 25% tax, Then what you do is you go 250,000 times 0.25. That means you're going to have to pay 62.5. So I'm going to take my 250,000 profit minus 62,500, and it means I'm still making $187,000. So Bruno, my question to you is, here's my question to you, Bruno, is 187,000 enough for your first deal? So it's all, what I'm saying, friends, is it's all underwriting. And Jay Pharma just said, subject to capital gains though, right? Yep. And the way capital gains works in Canada, if the secret to this, actually, let me say one more thing. Jay, what you have to understand, what everybody has to understand, is capital gains are only applicable in your personal name. So if you do that house flip and you buy it through your personal name, you got to pay 25% tax on the first 250 grand and 50% on any amount more than 250 grand in a calendar year. But listen carefully to this. If you decide that you're going to flip properties regularly and make a lot of money with it, what you do is you incorporate a company and you buy the properties through the incorporated company. You do all the renovations through the incorporated company, and you make the profit through the incorporated company. You know what that does? No capital gains tax. The reason for the business is doing house flipping. It's now business income. It's not personal income, and it's not subject to capital gains. All right, any other questions anybody has? Friends, listen, we are really excited about the Investors Growth Syndicate. It's an amazing mastermind group. And I love what my team has set up to do this. This mastermind group is one of the fastest growing mastermind groups in Canada. And if you join, you get lifetime access to all of the courses I showed you, to our membership area. It's a family membership, so your wife, any kids over 16, they can all join under one membership. If you have a business partner and you can prove to us that you're already in business together, you both can join under one membership. And the benefits to membership are unbelievable. You get lifetime access to the Facebook group. You can ask questions anytime you want. You can get help on there in the Facebook group 24 hours a day. You get to come to all of our live Zoom calls. In addition to that, we have a procurement team here at my company. I decided anything I use in my company that can help you, I'm going to give you access to it. So we're building resorts. And because of that, we have to buy significant amounts of furniture. We have to buy outdoor equipment. We have to buy barbecues. We have to, all kinds of stuff. So we hired procurement experts, and we buy everything we need for our resorts overseas, mostly from China, which means we can get Muskoka chairs that people pay $300 for. We can get them for $70. I can get a Traeger barbecue and smoker, which costs $5,000. I can get it for $500. I can get an outdoor fire pit with a beautiful stone platform around it, which people pay $1,000 for. I can get them for $100. So if you join the syndicate, you get access to our procurement people. They will find you anything you want for your life anywhere in the world. We've had people that have gotten riding lawnmowers. We have people now that are sourcing out Chinese cars to import to Canada, furniture for their houses, canoes, kayaks, I mean, you name it, anything at all. The other thing is, if you join the syndicate, I will help you raise every dollar you need. Now, I'm not a mortgage broker. I'm not allowed to give financial advice. I'm not allowed to give mortgage advice. But we have 4 mortgage brokers. They're level 2 agents, and they have their mortgage broker's license. And those people have access to thousands of private lenders. And they regularly help our syndicate members get 100% financing. And if there's anybody here that's a really sophisticated real estate investor, if you join the syndicate and you want to raise large amounts of money for big projects, I will personally help you. I own a mutual fund trust. It's called the Dunn Investments Fund. I have 7 full-time employees that raise all the capital for our resorts. I set that whole thing up. I run the ads to webinars to get people to opt in to listen to information, and my fundraisers close it. We raise millions of dollars every year. If you join the Investors Growth Syndicate and you want to raise large amounts of money, I will personally help you to do it. Every bit of it. TMGLNC says, when doing it in a corporation, is qualifying for the mortgage harder? No, it's not. because you're qualifying for private mortgages. You do house flips with private mortgages, and those private mortgage lenders, they're looking at the quality of the deal. They want to know that you personally have the ability to get the deal done. And because you're in the syndicate, they know that I'm helping you and the whole team is helping you, and that helps you a lot. And then the other part of this is they just want to make sure the numbers work. And if the numbers work, they'll lend you the money. They don't even ask you to see your credit report if you're in the syndicate. That's how freaking cool it is. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, the one more thing I want to check is there anybody here that's interested in knowing more about joining the Investors Growth Syndicate? I'm just trying to see where the messages is. So, but in the notes below this video, there should be a link where you can book an appointment to talk to somebody about the Investors Growth Syndicate. What I'm going to do right now, before I forget, let me see if I can find it here. Here we go. Yep. I'm going to take this link and I'm going to put it in the chat. I hope you guys can all see it. There we go. Yep, perfect. That works great. And I don't know if I can pin, I can pin that message too. How about that? There you go. I put it right at the top. So I just put a message in the chat. If you'd like to know more about joining the Investors Growth Syndicate, what I want you to do is click on that link. Book an appointment to meet with one of my onboarding experts. They'll answer all your questions and they'll tell you what it costs and they'll see if it's a good fit for you. Now, I always get people ask me all the time, what does it cost? And here's what I'm proud to tell you. It costs whatever you can afford. So if you want full access to all the benefits of joining the syndicate, the price is the highest. It's $15,000, $14,997. But about a year ago, we decided to graduate people into it, meaning that if you want to get started, but you don't think you're going to need some of the benefits right away, like the fundraising support or the procurement or any of that stuff, you can start with a basic membership, which gives you access to all the training and the live Zoom calls at a fraction of the price, like a fifth of the price. Payment plans are like under $1,000 a month. And then when you want those other things, you can pay to upgrade to those things later if that's something you're interested in. But I just put the link in the chat. If you're interested in knowing more about the Investors Growth Syndicate, just click on that link. Are there any other questions that anybody has before we wrap up this session? Here's what I want to know. There's so much more I'd love to share with you. I didn't even get a chance to talk about what's happening in 2026, what are the best things to work on. I can do this in future sessions. I just have another meeting that starts right at the top of the hour, so I've got to get going here. But now that I got the audio figured out on this, my question to you is, should I do this more often? Was there value in our time together in the chat? Just go into the chat and say yes, because I'd like to do more of these lives on YouTube. If you think it's a good idea, I will. Anyway, hey, listen, this video is going to stay on YouTube. If you're watching the replay later and you have more questions, just go ahead and ask the questions. If you want to book an appointment to talk to one of my onboarding experts about joining the syndicate, click on that link and get yourself into it. It was really great spending time with you guys today. Thank you for your patience with my little screw up at the beginning. I figured it out. And I wish you guys all the best of the day. Listen, actually, one more thing I got to tell you. Don't be crazy. Join the syndicate. What makes the syndicate special is there's 450 members. And 10 of the top members are coaches. So joining the syndicate, you're not just learning from me. You're learning from some of the most sophisticated real estate investors in Canada. Click on that link and book an appointment and get yourself started. I'm going to go back and help the guys sell some hot tubs, and we'll see you on the next mastermind call. Have a great day, everybody.